Alright, today I'm going to do a comparison video between these two Bane figures. Now, one is from McFarlane Toys, this one, the big one, and then this one is from Mafex. Now, price point, they are completely different. This one comes with Batman, and you could still get it for cheaper than you could get this guy alone by himself. So the Mafex is about $100, while this one is about $70. So you get two figures. This one you get Batman with Bane, while this one you just get Bane. But as far as accessories, this one comes with 2 extra hands, basically a pair of fists, and then this one comes with an extra head sculpt and 10 extra hands. So that aside, so let's get into the articulation and the size difference between how accurate they are versus what you see in the comics. So let's start off by doing a comparison between the two. So you can see paint job is completely different. One has a white mask, while the other one has more of a tannish color. It's not so much white, and then it has blue highlight. So which one's more accurate? In the comics, they do have blue highlights, so this one seems to be more accurate as far as the highlights concerned. But as far as the scale wise, this one is more of a cover, more how he looked on the covers for a couple of those episodes, a couple of those issues, while this one is more accurate to the inside of the comics. So inside, because he is actually not that big. Compared to Batman, because this one actually towers over the Batman. Batman's about up to his chest, while this one is close to how Batman is. So yeah, that's the difference between the two, and which one is more accurate depends on what you like. Now, a bulky one does feel good when you're messing with it. It is fun to mess with a huge bulk figure, and if you stand it next to the Batman, then you would notice how massive he is, and sometimes you do feel like that's kind of cool to play something that massive. Towers over, like here, he towers over Bane, so that's kind of fun actually to put two figures together like that. I mean, it's not accurate, but still, it's kind of fun. But as far as accuracy, I think this one is truer to the inside of it, and I like that too, because if you're creating some of the scenes based off of the comics, then you want something that's actually more accurate to the comics than this, because sometimes you just want something more accurate. But to me, I like them both. I find both of them interesting, and this one, yes, it's a little more inaccurate, but again, it is more fun. But this one, accuracy is nice too. I like that. So depends on your taste, which one you prefer. Now let us take a closer look at some of the detailing on both of these. So here we have the McFarlane Bane. As you can see, highlights throughout the mask. And then comparison, here it is. This one has a removable faceplate, so you can switch out the other face mask on him. This one has a more angrier look, the other one is less. As far as the chest, look at how beefy he is. The color's a little weird though. I mean, they did a wash on it, but it looks kind of not correct though. The wash they did, yeah, it just seems kind of off. And then this one is more accurate though. As far as the paint job's concerned, you can see the split in between. You can see it's just a darker shade of tan color, so it's more realistic. Paint job is definitely better on this one than the McFarlane one, and they both got painted hair on the body and on the arms. This one is you can see it a little bit better. It's way more pronounced, but they're both painted on. There's no sculpting on those. And then the tubing on this one is more interesting because it can move. It's just sliding into this little clamp right here, while this one is built in. So there's no movement on this versus this on the bottom. It's kind of hard to show them side by side because they aren't the same height. So here's the forearm piece. There's the forearm piece. Definitely look a little bit different, but still similar to how they are. And then the gloves, yeah, pretty close. Let's take a look at the belt as well. Let me move the camera in a little bit so you guys can kind of see the belt on both of these. Oh. I need to. Okay, there we go. So let us take a look at the belt. Very similar, a little more pointy up here, while this one's more rounded out. And there seems to be more detailing on the McFarlane one than it is on the Mafex one. Now, as far as which one is more accurate, I am not quite sure. Actually, I just did a search, and the Mafex one is actually more accurate, because it is just squares all around. Instead, this one has square on top of squares, and then these are pointy, which is more not accurate. The actual comic is more rounded, like this one, versus this one. So they took a liberty on designing this a little bit. McFarlane did, but and I don't remember having knee pads on the in the comics either. Yeah, no, I don't see knee pads on Bane in the comics. So yeah, another thing that they changed, because this is definitely not there in the comics. And the boots are pretty much identical. The boots, I know it's a little hard to see, but yeah. And as far as the backside there, they look fairly similar. I mean, it's just one with pockets, extra pockets, while this one does not. And then it has side pockets as well. So, yeah, these, I don't believe these are accurate. But still, look nice though, design-wise. The McFarlane one does look nice. But if you're looking for accuracy, I think the Mafex one is definitely more accurate to the comics, if you're going for that look. So let us go over articulation. Alright, as far as articulation, yeah, you could, from side by side, you could totally tell which one's more accurate, which is of course the Mafex one. It has way more articulation points, while this one, McFarlane, has way less. So let's take a look at the McFarlane first. The most noticeable articulation point would be the torso. There's nothing around the torso except for the waist. There's a ball jointed waist, and that is it. The whole torso is one piece. And the arms are cool. I mean, it has your pretty much your standard range. And then this one, there's a peg that goes up to the bicep section, so it allows his arms to move, swivel out. And the wrists. And then as for the legs, ratcheting joints throughout. There's a double jointed knee. And then, well, there are, because there are two of them. Then there's a hinge right here. And it does allow his foot to pivot left and right. And then there's toes articulation as well. They seem to be all ratcheting joints too, so that is good. I like that. That's pretty much with all the McFarlane toys these days. They all have pretty good ratcheting joints. So there's Bane. Let me put him over here. Now, as for the Mafex one, of course, he has way more articulation points. Even the neck, you can see there are two joints right here. One base of the neck, one's around the head. So it allows him to look up and down way better than the McFarlane toys one. So you can even have him look side to side. Look at how much range he has. And then the bicep has that butterfly joint, while it's the spacer. So which well, no, this is a full-on separate, not a spacer piece. It's a full-on, I believe this inner part is attached to the torso using a ball joint, and then the arms also attached to the spacer piece with a ball joint, so which allows him to do way better range, I think. Yeah, gives his arm a little more range as far as coming out front, you see, and both arms could actually come together, which is nice, while the McFarlane one will not be able to do that. And then the tubing, having it be a separate piece than the bicep clamp, then it's good because you can move it around to give yourself a little more room here and there, which is kind of neat. And then double jointed elbows can give you past 90 degrees, which the McFarlane one cannot. On this one, it's a ball hinge wrist, nothing to that. And then as far as the torso is concerned, it has the two joints here. One's around the waist, one's around the abdominal section. So, but you gotta be a little bit careful with it. Don't scratch it up. You just gotta watch how you move this joints around. So yeah, definitely give him a little more range. Look at that crunch. And then the legs, drop down ball joints, which allow him to fold that far in. So that is really, really good. So you can see he could fold, and double jointed knees, same as the McFarlane toys. And then the ankle is actually on a ball joint instead of the hinge on the McFarlane toys. And there's also toes articulation, just like the other one. And the joints are pretty tight too, so that's nice. So you can definitely give Bane a little more, well, definitely a lot more actually, a lot more range for posability, and then different type of poses, more natural poses than the McFarlane Toys one. Let's see if I can recreate this pose. Probably not so much because of the range that this one has, or this one doesn't have. Okay, so similar. The pose is it's quite good actually. They are both fairly similar in pose, but you can see where each of them look at and how much range each one has, and there's definitely a difference between the two here. So let me go. Whoa, come on, stay. No, he's not staying put. Okay. Come on. Oh my goodness. Why can't you stand properly? Just, this is not a hard pose too. Come on now, work with me. Work with me. Oh no. Alright, the second I turned off the camera, I was able to pose them up. So here you can see similar pose, but it's fairly different between the two because one is way more massive, of course. The other one is a little more tinier, but the range is definitely different. Let's see if I lower this a little bit, and let me actually, let's take a look at from front first. So yeah, similar. This one gives you a little more crunch. This one does not. The eye level is completely different between the two. So if I rotate him around, like right here, you see the difference between the two. This one is the spine is a little curved. This one is still straight because it can't do the pose properly. But yeah, eye level is different. It's actually pretty similar actually. but I can. No, not as far because I curved the spine a little bit, so that's why. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they're very similar as far as the eye level is concerned. But it's just the subtlety between the two. This one is definitely more natural because if you hunch over like that, your spine will not be straight like this. So that's the torso part. And then as far as other poses, even the back breaking pose is a little more natural because you would hunch over a little bit. So this joint here, the torso joint, is very useful for figures. You can give them definitely way more natural poses than without. And yeah, it's just overall is more fun to pose him because he has more range. And yeah, if you own Mafex figure, you know what I'm talking about because yeah, you could do way more dynamic poses with your figures, and it's fun to pose pose these figures around. I could kinda do the same thing. I mean, not perfectly, but still, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you can still achieve the poses you want, but it's just not as natural. Just the subtlety of it is just a little lacking. But you are paying a lot less, so yeah. So at the end of the day, which one is better? You can't compare the two really, because there are pros and cons between both of these. The most noticeable would be the size difference between the two. So it depends on how accurate you want your figure to be. If you're looking for the accuracy, then go with the Mafex. If you're going for just bulkiness, big hulky type stuff, then go with the McFarlane. That one's fun too. And then if you're looking for articulation, the range of motion, more natural poses, dynamic poses, then go with the Mafex. But this one's still good. It's just average poses. You can give them nothing too dynamic. You can still pull off some really good poses. Don't get me wrong, this one you can still pull off really good poses, but this is to a different level. So yeah. And then as far as paint job, I would have to give it to the Mafex because just look at that chest. It's just painted way better than the McFarlane one, and the hair is not so black. This one's way too black. It's like so noticeable. It's insane. I mean, they use more of a grayish color to paint those hair, and I think that works out a little bit better too. The head sculpts, I like them both. This one's different, but yeah, this one's definitely different. I think I prefer the Mafex one a little bit more because it's more human shape. This one's more like a cone shape in a way because the top is so narrow. It's just a little weird to me, but still this one is very good. Highlights is nice. I don't mind the highlights. It looks pretty accurate to the comics in that aspect. But as far as the size wise, if you're looking for something inside the comic, then go with this one, Mafex. But if you're looking for something that's similar to the cover art and a couple of the dynamic pages, then you could argue that the McFarlane Toys is accurate too. So there's no really one or the other. I mean, it's just what you prefer. I mean, yeah, that's why I got both, because I like them both. Price wise, again, this one comes with Batman, and it's still cheaper than this one. So there you have it. There's the comparison video between the two Banes, and it's a fun video to put together because I think some people might be interested in this, and it's good to see the two figures side by side, so you could really see the difference between the two here. There are clearly huge differences between the two. So there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and let me know which one you decided to pick, and thanks for watching.